Imagine being a German soldier. You've survived 4 grueling, brutal, and bloody years in the trenches of World War I. You've watched your comrades die with the Kaiser's name on their lips, sacrificing their lives for Germany, the Empire, and their homeland, whether for their families, the future, or what they believed in. Regardless of their individual beliefs and your own as soldiers, the war has left an indelible mark. Now, as the war comes to an end, you return home as a defeated man. Germany in the late summer of 1918 is a nation in turmoil. When the Great War began, the German Empire was the most powerful rising nation in Europe, filled with innovation and achievements in the fields of science, sociology, and technology. But all that remains now, as German soldiers return in 1918, are the remnants of grandeur and golden times. This must have been the grim reality confronting many German war veterans as they returned home at the end of World War I, following the German Empire's capitulation. Millions of soldiers were suddenly forced to shed their uniforms. While many gladly did so to put an end to the suffering of war, not a few felt like strangers in a Germany marked by upheaval and turmoil, on the brink of total chaos. Communists called for revolution everywhere in the country, and open street battles raged. The misery of the people was visible everywhere. Simultaneously, the economy was in shambles, and jobs were scarce. Soldiers who had received wages before were quickly rendered homeless on the streets without family support. The Allies had forced Germany to drastically reduce its army. The new Reichswehr was tiny compared to the Imperial Army. So where could hundreds of thousands of penniless and disillusioned men go? Men who had nothing left but their comrades, memories of war, and a sense of loss. The answer: they organized themselves independently into the so-called Freikorps. In contemporary literature and debate, especially in the Anglo-American and German spheres, the Freikorps are often vilified as thoroughly evil men who brought terror upon the young and unfortunate Weimar Republic. That many of them later joined the National Socialists is no secret. But that's only half the truth. The soldiers of the Freikorps were a diverse group that developed in different directions in the years that followed. While many switched to the Nazis, or were closely linked to the biographies of prominent Nazis, there were also Freikorps soldiers who opposed the Nazis, fought for the Republic, or took a more neutral stance. In these brotherhoods of men, a unique warrior spirit, a mental attitude, distilled, one that is all too familiar among veterans from other wars and other countries. These men understood each other well and felt misunderstood by civilian society. Their numbers fluctuated significantly over time. At their peak in 1919-1920, it is estimated that the Freikorps numbered anywhere from 250,000 to over 400,000 members. However, these figures are approximations, as the exact numbers are hard to ascertain due to the decentralized and often ad hoc nature of these groups. Their activities included fighting in border conflicts, such as those in the Baltic region against Russian and Polish forces, as well as internal conflicts within Germany. The Freikorps were instrumental in suppressing the Spartacist uprising in 1919, a notable communist revolution attempt in Germany. It's important to note that while the Freikorps were initially supported by the German government as a means to maintain order and resist communist uprisings, which would have turned Germany into a communist state if not for these men. Without the Freikorps, the young Weimar Republic, a parliamentary democracy desired by the Allies, would have been quashed in its infancy by communist revolts. It was also the men of the Freikorps who, in the face of the weakness of the regular army, the Reichswehr, protected the German Reich and engaged in fierce battles with other nationalist forces in the Baltic states, East Prussia, Pomerania, and Silesia, each vying for a piece of the German pie. However, their efforts went largely unappreciated. The government of that time tried increasingly in the 1920s to eliminate the Freikorps and politically deactivate their members, as they were seen as having outlived their usefulness. Many of them became more radical and organized into political terror groups with often bizarre beliefs, carrying out attacks. In the memoirs of Ernst von Salomon, a German Freikorps soldier who did not align with the National Socialists, one finds vivid and thought-provoking accounts of this turbulent era. In his book, The Questionnaire, he excerpts his experiences and the spirit of the times that prevailed among these men in the young Weimar Republic. Salomon, who was rightfully convicted of terrorism and imprisoned, only to be released in the late 1920s, saw himself as a patriot for Germany without being a Nazi. His distance from Hitler and the Nazis ultimately led to difficulties with Nazi authorities, as he also protected his friends of Jewish descent or those who associated with Jews. He even had a German Jewish lover. After the war, his books became bestsellers in Germany. However, he also received significant support in France as a German who, although nationalist in sentiment, did not succumb to Nazism. There are numerous cases like his. There were even supporters of the Social Democrats in the Freikorps, or those who leaned towards the conservative Christian Zentrum. Labeling the Freikorps as merely a precursor to National Socialism, as many contemporary left-wing historians often do, is an oversimplification of history and does not do justice to the lives and actions of many of these men. They were just children of their times,